So, I'm trying a new setup, which is supposed to be 2 cameras, but as it turns out, both of the cameras are the same model and they identify as the same thing. And then, well, the software doesn't know which camera it's which. Very weird to not have the unique identifier on cameras, but there is a camera there on the anchor that I cannot use. Not sure what to do about that. Anyway, I'm in the boat for the first time this season. Not really the first time, but first time to do something useful, which is to start the heater. I have a diesel heater in the boat. It pumps diesel from the keel where the tank is, and that diesel goes to the heater, which is in the back of the boat. And that fuel line is actually a little bit too long, I guess. So you have to keep running it and running it and running it and running it, and it keeps trying to pump some fuel to the heater. But at some point, I guess it's gonna start. So while I'm running this heater, I thought I would just record a video, drink some coffee, and yeah, I don't know, talk about what to do in the boat soon. I realized a fairly significant problem that oh, there's smoke coming out. Good. Guess the heater is starting. I changed the motor from a diesel MD6 motor, and I got the Golden motor electric motor, which runs on 48 volts. So under my feet here I have maybe you can't see that, but under my feet here I have 4 12-volt 100 ampere batteries, and I had to change the shaft and the propeller and motor, everything. And I built that myself because I couldn't find a good supplier for anything except the motor. The motor was good. And it's very difficult to find suppliers in Sweden. And when you ask people, well, how did you do it? Yeah, I have a friend in my garage, not in his garage, but a friend who has a garage, who just did it for me. And apparently lots of people have friends who have CNC machines and very advanced welding equipment and stuff in their garages, which I don't understand what people those are. I'm starting to suspect that when you steal from work, then you actually say that, oh, I have a friend with a garage, and that no one actually has those friends, because I don't know anyone who has a garage like that. Anyway, it's very difficult to find anyone who sells anything like that even in Sweden. At least if you're gonna find it, it's the companies that are used to dealing with other companies, and they charge like 100,000 crowns to make just a small metal plate, and 10 crowns is €1, or 10 crowns is $1 if you're not familiar with crowns. But anyway, I built everything myself, and as it turns out now, the propeller shaft, oh, it's overheated. Okay, the propeller shaft goes into the boat, and in the boat I have this frame to hold the motor, and in that frame there's also the bearing for the propeller axle, and there's a disc for the belt. So the motor goes by belt to a disc on the shaft to the propeller. And as it turns out, the bearing has a screw that is supposed to lock the axle, and for some reason that screw, either it broke off or it come loose or something, so the axle is actually loose now. It's moving back and forth, which potentially is a big problem because the axle could just shoot out if I put the reverse, losing the propeller and everything. And this coast has a depth very fast, like out here, outside where I'm sitting now, is 25 meters, but very fast when you go out, it goes down to 100 meters depth, which means it's very difficult to retrieve anything that shoots out the back. So I have to fix that. Anyway, then I have to get this heat started, reset the overheating protection every once in a while when it's pumping fuel. And I have a cold, of course, because I have kids who go to daycare and they drag home viruses all the time. But then, when I bought this boat, it was in very good condition. Or so I thought. It looked like it was in very good condition. The guy who had it before me, he had it in a house, and then he got sick, so it was just sitting in his house for like 7-8 years. And you know, he recently painted the hull, so it was shining, really nice. But of course the paint had already suffered 7 or 8 winters with freezing temperatures, which may have affected it a little bit. Then I've had the boat outside for 2 winters now. While I was working on the engine and everything, the boat was sitting on land for a long time, but still outside. And in the winter outside, it's you can notice some, because this is not waterproof paint actually. Every here and there, especially in the corners, there's probably a little bit of water that leaked in, and then it's freezing in the winter, and you get these kind of stars, like cracks, and I think that's not very good. Now the bottom of the boat, the owner before me, he put epoxy paint, so the bottom of the boat is waterproof. Otherwise, with these old boats, it's usually plastic, which is not waterproof. But he actually put epoxy as a layer outside, so it is waterproof, but still need to do something about the top of the boat. But maybe I'm not going to do that this season. Maybe we'll wait another season before I fix that. And then a few years ago, they changed the rules for the like toilets and sewage systems on boats in Sweden. So it's illegal to release any kind of waste into the sea, which is good. I mean, you're not supposed to do that. Even if it's just one person, it can have some bad effects. Most of all because we already have so much pollution in the Baltic Sea. I mean, it's just a disaster. We're killing everything already. And then when you have that very high load already, one person goes to the toilet and that explodes way worse than it should. So the toilet here is okay, and he has a septic tank for it, a stainless steel tank for the toilet. You pump into the tank, everything is fine, but then he didn't make any way to empty the tank. So the only way to empty the tank is to open the valve and let it go out to sea. Which means, because you're not allowed to empty the tank in here, you have to go way out to international waters actually, if you want to follow the law. And even though you do go out to international waters, and that's a big mass of water, I mean, that's still not a good thing to do, even if it would be legal, probably, I guess, on international waters. But it's not legal on Swedish waters. So anyway, I bought this adapter, which I'm gonna try to get into the stainless steel tank. And this is brass and the tank is stainless steel. I hope that's not a problem with corrosion or whatever. Then there's this quite sturdy rubber hose that goes onto that adapter from the tank, and it has to go out to the top of the boat with one of these lids, so that I can have the hose from the septic tank and then empty with a pump here in the harbor. So that's an important project to do, as well as the propeller. See if the heat gets going. Oh yeah, so next thing, when I remove the motor, it's I don't know, the diesel tank is in the keel, and I thought, because I have the heater, I keep the diesel tank, I run the heater, maybe that's a good thing. Right now it starts making a noise, maybe that means it's working. There's some smoke coming. Anyway, I thought having a heater, diesel heater, might be good in Sweden. It's quite cold sometimes. But what that means is, under my feet here are the batteries, and they're actually above the waterline. So I feel like that's not great. It would be much better to have the batteries in the keel, because there's a lot of lead in those batteries to get more weight in the keel. Maybe that's a safer boat. My heater just went into overdrive for some reason. Not sure what is happening there. Anyway, so I would like to remove the diesel tank, remove the heater. I can be cold in the boat. Just put on more clothes. Move the batteries to the keel. Then, of course, if there's water coming into the boat, that water will go into the batteries, and the batteries run the motor. So then I could be on sea without a functioning motor, which is not great. And I already had the mishap where I didn't have a motor, and I was out at sea, and there were cliffs on one side and there were rocks on the other side, and there's a strong wind and waves, and I didn't know what to do. So it was not a good experience. I did manage though, but after that I really feel the need for a backup. So after I move the batteries to the keel, I'm gonna mount the thing to put the outboard engine outside of the boat. And I really don't want to buy an outboard engine because it's fucking expensive. But what do you do? So gotta buy an outboard engine, and I figure because it's just a backup, I can just buy a small one, maybe 2-3 horsepowers, I don't know, just something that is able to push the boat a little bit. And then I can also use that for the dinghy, because I have the inflatable dinghy that has a maximum 4 horsepower requirement. So at least it has to be smaller than 4. Should be 10 to power this boat, but I think it's okay. Now it's a lot of smoke coming. I don't know if it shows on camera, but I don't know if this heater is supposed to do this. Whatever. This is the endless thing when you have a boat, especially a sailboat. There's always something that seems like it's not working as it should. Seems like something you need to replace, something you need to spend money on. And start decreasing a little bit. Anyway, yeah, there's always money to be spent on boats, and I like this boat. I like being able to go out, even though I'm not going out much at all. Usually we just sit in the boat and we have a cup of coffee, sit in the harbor. It's nice. That's what we mostly do. It's still nice to have this boat, and it's still nice to be able to have the feeling that, yeah, we could, if we wanted to, we could just pack the whole family in the boat and just go down to France or whatever. It is possible, or even around the globe, if we wanted to. Which we probably don't, because I mean we have work and stuff, and both my wife and I are quite happy with the work we do, but yeah, we'll see. I guess at some point we probably go on some longer journey. In any case, it's nice to have the boat, even though it is a constant source of frustration, work and money that you just pour into it. What else? After I fixed the toilet, I fixed the propeller shaft, moved the batteries to the keel, put the outboard engine in the back. It is now April 15, and I'm supposed to have they only have 2 times where you can put the boat into the water. The first one is May 12th, which is less than a month away and seems quite tight. The other one is June 1st, which is a little bit late, but I think it has to be June 1st for us this year. Yeah. Anyway, just a bit of chit chat about what is next on the stuff to do with the boat this year. So I'm messing with the heater still, and one thing that I noticed is the filter we have down here, which first of all has bubbles in it, which I don't think is air bubbles, I think is water. So that's probably one of the reasons why the heater is not running properly. But the other thing you can see is that filter is turning more and more black, and I think that's probably diesel bacteria or something in the diesel. So that's fun. At least I'm getting more and more reasons to remove this shit and throw it out, because it's just annoying with things that are not working. And I don't like diesel, I don't like petrol, I don't like oil, anything like that. Anyway, the thing we are going to do now is that we are going to fix this. See, this is loose, which it shouldn't be. So we have to first of all find a key. You don't say key in English, do you? You say wrench. This doesn't quite fit either. 17 millimeters. I guess that's what we want. And I only have 117, so we need maybe use this one to hold it, and then undo this. I'm really nervous about working with this because one time I dropped my wrench when I didn't turn off the electricity. And because this whole metal structure is grounded, when the wrench fell on the wire that carries electricity, live wire, what happened, of course, was that there were a lot of sparks flying. And I once got 220 volts in my fingers from a socket, so I'm quite nervous about having those kind of experiences. I really, really, really don't like it. Maybe this is loose enough already. Ow! Not a good idea, okay? Maybe it's more fun to look at the other camera. We're looking up. So this is loose. There's a bearing here somewhere, which is supposed to lock the axle, and it doesn't. And my skin just fell off a bit. Anyway. It would be so much easier to do this if I just move the wrench to the other side, but then my nervousness about being close to the electrical wires comes into play. And I need to have the electricity on because I need to try and get the heat running despite of the water and bacteria and whatever else may be on there. Maybe if I do this instead. This is fun, isn't it? Watching me screw some bolts or get screwed over, depending on how you look at it. Wait, am I even doing this the right way? No, I'm not. Jesus. I'm supposed to go the other way. That's what happens when you move the wrench from the left hand to the right hand. The brain gets confused. Now, I'm actually quite happy with this little frame that I did, because I had to think it out all by myself, and I'm not an engineer. Well, I'm software engineer, but I'm not used to dealing with hardware like this. So I thought the result is quite alright. Because I got 2 bolts, oh maybe switch the camera again. I got 2 bolts, one there and one there. And those 2 bolts, they control the tension. And then I have these bolts to sort of pinch and to pinch so that I am able to lock the whole frame together. And it's just bolts, there's no welding at all in this, it's just bolts everywhere. 0 welding required. And because I don't have any equipment for welding, that was absolutely necessary, but coming up with the whole idea about how to solve this in a way that it actually sits firmly after you put it into place, that was a bit of a challenge. Anyway, because it's a bit of a special solution, it takes a bit of special tinkering to get to the things that you need. Can you even see what I'm doing? I guess not. This is probably the most boring video ever. No one's gonna watch this. But I don't have anything else to record right now, so we can talk about weight distribution on a sailboat while we're screwing around. Because the diesel that used to be here weighed around 100 kilograms, I guess. And this electric motor doesn't come anywhere close to that weight. So I don't see a problem with it being higher up in the air, so to speak, higher from the surface of the water. But, oh my god, this is so tiresome. So I don't see any problems with having it this high up. Otherwise, there might be space to put it down there too, I guess. But that just makes things more difficult, I think. Anyway. The batteries are now at this height too, which is the same height as the diesel engine used to be, and the batteries are probably about the same weight. So in that respect, it's not really a problem to have them in this height back there, but I would like to move the batteries where the diesel tank is. I think that would be better. Okay. Now, see if I can get this off. Not quite, is it? Oh, so close. Okay. Oh. And then we have this little problem to deal with, which is actually this is the screw that is holding it. But why is it moving? Why is it moving? I don't think it's supposed to do that. It's very difficult for me to see anything here, but it seems like it's actually the ball bearing that is moving like this, and it's not actually the axle, is it? Still don't feel quite right about it. I'm going to try to take this wheel off. Need some tools. Except that I cannot reach down there, so I need a longer one. And don't we have that? Oh, there's heat coming. Ah, the heater is working. Finally. Got some hot air blowing in here. Something is going my way for once. Not for once. It's not that uncommon to have things go my way, actually. But I need an insect key that is longer than the one I have. What did I do when I put this on anyway? Hey. Well, I'm not going to record this because this is bullshit.